We have all heard the story, when the first snows of winter begin to fall, the great bears of the forest retreat to their dens. They curl up into a ball and fall into a deep, unbreakable sleep that lasts until spring. It is a simple and enduring image, a world passed down through generations. We call it hibernation. It is a word we associate with complete stillness, a world shut down and waiting for the sun's return. But for bears, this picture is not entirely true. The reality of their winter survival is far more nuanced, and in many ways, far more extraordinary than the simple story we have always been told. Their winter is not a deep, oblivious slumber, but something else entirely. The truth is that bears do not truly hibernate, not in the same way a tiny groundhog or a bat does. Scientists have a different word for what bears do. They call it torpor. It is a state of reduced metabolic activity and lowered body temperature, a clever strategy for conserving precious energy during the lean months of winter. Unlike a true hibernator, which can seem almost dead to the touch with a heart rate that plummets to just a few beats per minute, a bear in torpor remains in a lighter state of rest. It is a state of profound energy saving, but one that keeps the bear on a knife's edge of awareness, ready to respond if the need arises. This distinction is not just a matter of scientific terminology. It is fundamental to understanding the bear's life. A true hibernator is completely vulnerable. It takes a long time for it to warm its body and awaken fully, leaving it exposed to any potential danger that might find its burrow. A bear cannot afford such a luxury. As a large animal, it might need to defend its den from a threat. More importantly, as a mother, it must be able to care for the new life that often arrives in the darkness of the winter den. Torpor provides the perfect balance between conserving energy and maintaining a state of readiness, a biological compromise perfected over millennia. So, let us set aside the familiar myth of the deeply slumbering bear. Instead, let us venture into the quiet, dim world of the winter den and explore the remarkable truth. The story of Torpor is a tale of incredible physiological adaptations, of bodies that defy the normal rules of biology. It reveals a survival strategy that is subtle, complex, and full of wonder. It is a story not of a deep sleep, but of a quiet, watchful, and life-sustaining rest that allows these magnificent creatures to endure the harshest season and emerge once more into the light of spring, ready to continue their journey. When a black bear or a brown bear settles into its den for the winter, a remarkable cascade of changes begins within its body. This is the entry into torpor. The most dramatic change is in its heart rate. A bear's heart, which might beat at a steady 50 times per minute during the active summer months, slows down profoundly. It can drop to as few as 8 to 12 beats per minute. Imagine the quiet stillness of that, its breath, once a regular rhythm, becomes slow and shallow, with long pauses lasting up to a minute between each inhalation. This slowdown is the core of the energy-saving strategy, reducing the body's need for fuel to an absolute minimum. Along with the heart rate, the bear's entire metabolism, the engine that powers its body, throttles down. Its body temperature, however, does not plummet in the same way a true hibernator's does. While a ground squirrel might see its body temperature drop to near freezing, a bear's temperature only decreases by about 10 to 12 degrees Fahrenheit. This is a crucial difference. This slightly lower temperature is enough to conserve huge amounts of energy over several months, but it keeps the bear warm enough to awaken quickly. It can be alert and on its feet in a matter of minutes if disturbed. This state of readiness is a key feature of torpor. A mother bear must be able to respond if a predator approaches her den or if melting snow threatens to flood her winter refuge. Researchers who have carefully placed cameras inside dens have observed bears in torpor shifting their position, stretching, and even raising their heads to listen to sounds from outside. They are not in a coma-like state. They are resting deeply, yes, but their senses are still tethered, however loosely, to the world beyond the den's entrance. This ability to rouse quickly is what separates their winter rest from the profound near-death state of true hibernation. This incredible biological control allows bears to navigate the challenges of winter with remarkable efficiency. They have found a way to turn their bodies down, like a pilot conserving fuel on a long flight without ever completely shutting off the engines. They exist in a delicate limbo between sleep and wakefulness, a state perfectly adapted to their size, their environment, and the sacred duty of protecting their young. This is not simply sleeping through winter, it is actively managing a season of scarcity, with a suite of precise and powerful physiological tools that we are only just beginning to fully comprehend. For months on end, a bear in its winter den, it does not eat, it does not drink, it does not urinate, it does not defecate. This simple fact is one of the most astonishing aspects of its winter survival. How can a large mammal go for half a year without food or water and emerge in the spring, not only alive, but with its muscle and organ tissues largely intact? The answer lies in a feat of biochemical engineering that happens silently within the bear's body. Its system becomes a closed-loop recycling plant, a masterpiece of natural efficiency. The process begins with waste. In any active animal, the breakdown of proteins creates a toxic byproduct called urea, which is then filtered by the kidneys and expelled from the body as urine. If urea were to build up in the bloodstream, it would be fatal. But a bear in torpor has a solution. Its body has evolved a unique ability to take this urea and break it down. Specialized bacteria in its gut help to convert the nitrogen in the urea back into amino acids, the fundamental building blocks of protein. This recycled material is then used by the bear's body to repair and maintain its muscles and vital organs. This internal recycling system is nothing short of a miracle. It essentially allows the bear to eat its own waste products, turning what would be a deadly toxin into life-sustaining protein. This is why a bear can emerge from its den in the spring, having lost a significant amount of fat, but very little of its lean muscle mass. It has been nourishing itself from within, preserving its strength for the day it will need to hunt, forage, and defend itself once again. It is a biological superpower that allows it to survive a long fast without withering away, a feat unmatched by most other mammals. This process also solves the problem of dehydration. Since the bear is not expelling waste as urine, it conserves a tremendous amount of water. Its slow, shallow breathing also minimizes water loss through respiration. The bear survives on the water it produced metabolically when it broke down its vast stores of fat. Every process is fine-tuned for conservation. The bear's body becomes a self-contained ecosystem, a sealed vessel that holds on to and reuses every precious resource it has. It is a perfect example of how evolution can produce solutions that seem to border on the impossible, all happening in the quiet darkness of a winter den. The winter den is not just a shelter from the cold. For many female bears, it becomes a nursery. In the deep quiet of midwinter, while the mother is still in her state of torpor, she gives birth to her cubs. This event is another of nature's quiet wonders. The cubs are born incredibly undeveloped. They are often no larger than a squirrel, weighing less than a pound. They are blind, nearly hairless, and utterly helpless. Their only instinct is to crawl through their mother's fur, seeking the warmth of her body and the promise of milk. Their only source of nourishment in this dark, enclosed world. The mother bear, though in a state of deep rest, is not an absent parent. Her body performs an incredible act of sacrifice. She does not eat or drink, yet she produces an incredibly rich, fatty milk to feed her growing young. The energy and nutrients for this milk come entirely from her own fat reserves. She is, in essence, consuming her own body to give life to her cubs. She remains in a state of torpor, conserving energy for this monumental task, but she is aware enough to nudge her cubs into position for nursing and to keep them warm against her body. For the next few months, the den is a world of darkness, warmth, and quiet growth. The cubs do nothing but nurse and sleep, their tiny bodies transforming at a rapid pace. Fueled by their mother's high-fat milk, they grow quickly, putting on weight, developing thick coats of fur, and opening their eyes to the dim light of the den. They are completely protected from the harsh realities of the winter outside, the deep snow, the freezing winds, and the predators that roam the forest. Their mother's body is their furnace, their shield, and their pantry, all in one. This period of growth inside the den is a critical head start. By the time spring arrives and the family is ready to emerge, The cubs are no longer the tiny, helpless creatures they were at birth. They are now playful, curious, and strong enough to follow their mother and begin learning the essential skills of survival. The den has served its purpose as a secret, safe cradle where new life can begin under the most challenging of circumstances. The mother bear's ability to give birth and nurse her young while in a state of torpor is perhaps the most compelling reason why her winter rest is not a true hibernation, but a watchful, life-giving vigil. Well, it really is remarkable. As the days grow longer and the warmth of the spring sun begins to melt the snow around the den, the bear's long winter rest nears its end. But the transition from torpor to full activity is not like flipping a switch. It is a slow, gradual, careful process, sometimes referred to as walking hibernation. The bear does not simply bound out of its den for a period of weeks. It remains in a groggy, intermediate state, its body slowly recalibrating to the demands of being awake and active in a world that is also slowly reawakening. During this phase, the bear's metabolism and heart rate begin to climb back toward their normal levels, but they do not yet have the urge to eat or drink. Even with tender green shoots emerging nearby, the bear may show little interest in food for the first week or two after leaving the den. Its digestive system, which has been dormant for months, needs time to restart. The bear may spend its days wandering slowly near the den, sniffing the air, stretching its muscles, and simply reacclimating to the world of light and sound. It is a period of quiet contemplation, a gentle re-entry into life. This slow awakening is a crucial survival strategy. It prevents the bear from expending too much energy before reliable food sources become widely available. Rushing into full activity would be metabolically costly and potentially dangerous if a late spring snowstorm were to cover the landscape again. By moving slowly, the bear continues to conserve the last of its fat reserves, using them to power this final stage of its winter journey. It is a patient emergence, timed perfectly with the rhythm of the season, ensuring that the bear is at its full strength when the time for serious foraging arrives. So the next time you picture a bear in winter, do not imagine a simple, deep sleep. Think instead of this incredible, complex journey. Think of the slowing heart, the body that recycles its own waste into life-sustaining protein, and the dark, warm den that becomes a cradle for new life. Think of the mother who gives everything from her own body to nourish her young, and the slow, deliberate walk back into the light of spring. How many other secrets like this does the natural world hold, waiting quietly for us to look past the stories we think we know? The truth of the bear's winter is a profound lesson in resilience, a quiet miracle of survival. It really makes you, well, pause and wonder.